We are in chapter 17, as you all know. We finish verse 31. Today we're going to start verse 32. Let's see what it says in verse 32. Our Baal Korah with us, everyone ready? בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. ויאמר דוד אל שאול, אל ייפול לב האדם עליו, עבדך ילך ונלחם עם הפלישתי הזה.
David said to Saul, let no man lose heart because of him. Your servant will go forth and fight this Philistine.
What's happening here? The prophet described that David HaMelech actually said to Shaul, listen, you mustn't be afraid of that Philistine. There's nothing to be afraid of him. Not only that, David HaMelech said to him that he himself gonna fight that Philistine. Who is he referring to? To Goliath. He gonna fight against Goliath. Okay? And the Mefarshim explained that Shaul HaMelech actually saying to David HaMelech at the beginning that, how are you planning to go? David HaMelech will see now shortly, how is he planning to go and fight David HaMelech? But David HaMelech added up something very interesting, said the prophet. He said that I'm your loyal servant and I'm willing to go and fight against who? That Philistine. Who's that Philistine? He's referring to Goliath, that he's willing to take the job that everyone was afraid of. In verse 33, look what Shaul answered David HaMelech. ויאמר שאול אל דוד, לא תוכל ללכת אל הפלישתי הזה, להילחם עמו, כי נער אתה, והוא איש מלחמה מנעוריו.
But Saul said to David, you cannot go forth to this Philistine to fight with him, for you are a lad, while he is a warrior from his youth.
Here we see something very interesting, that Shaul was worried. Shaul saying to David HaMelech, listen, I think that you have a problem, young man. You want to fight that big warrior. He have a lot of experience. He's a warrior. All of his life, he trained to be a warrior. You never trained to be a warrior. You don't know tactics of war. To be a warrior, you have to know tactics. And you don't have those tactics. But look how we call him. A youngster, Na'ar. What did he call him, a Na'ar? So, first of all, David HaMelech in that age, if you remember, David HaMelech was in the age of 28, 29. He is not really a Na'ar. Na'ar is a person that in the age of 16 until the age of 20, 21 maximum. David HaMelech was 28, 29. David HaMelech tried, Shaul HaMelech tried to push David HaMelech from the idea to fight. And he said to him, listen, you have no chance to fight against that warrior. That warrior, Goliath, have a lot of experience. Goliath is a man that been trained since his youth to be a soldier. He's a warrior. He knows how to fight. That means the Mefarshim explained that Shaul wanted to test also David HaMelech. Is David HaMelech just talking, or David HaMelech meaning that he wants to fight against Goliath? And David HaMelech soon gonna explain to Shaul how is he planning to kill also a Goliath. ויאמר דוד אל שאול, רואה היה עבדך לאביו בצאן, ובא הארי ואת הדוב, ונשא שתי מהעדר. I'm going to read verse 34 and verse 35, also verse 35. ויצאתי אחריו, והכיתיו, והצלתי מפיו, ויקום עלי, והחזקתי בסקנו, והכיתיו, והמתיו.
David said to Saul, "Your servant was a shepherd for his father among the flocks. The lion or the bear would come and carry off a sheep from the flock, and I would go after it, strike it down, and rescue the sheep from its mouth. If it would attack me, I would grab onto its beard and strike it and kill it."
What's happening here? Here the prophet explained that David HaMelech now answers Shaul, and he telling him that the strength that he had, that he was a shepherd for his father. And when he was in the wilderness, in a Judean desert, and what happened? A lion and a bear attacked him. Okay? When they attacked him, okay, they managed to grab a lamb. They managed to grab one of the lamb. David HaMelech chased them, and he fought with the lion. And he managed to open his mouth and to take out the lamb, to save the lamb. Not only that, that in one time the lion almost managed to overcome me. What did I done? I pulled the beard of the lion, okay, and I hold in his cheek, okay, and I managed to kill the lion. That means that here David HaMelech basically saying to Shaul that he managed to overcome a lion and a bear. Said the Mefarshim something very extraordinary. Look what David HaMelech say in verse 36, and then you'll understand what's hiding behind it. David HaMelech, when he spoke to Shaul, he didn't give him all the detail at the beginning. But the Mefarshim explain that in verse 36, we'll see what's hiding behind it. It wasn't only the lion and the bear. It was also, we'll see what the Mefarshim explained that was there. It's in verse 36, גם את הארי, גם הדוב, listen what he said, גם את הארי. את, the word key is את. גם הדוב היכה עבדך, והיה הפלישתי הערל הזה כאחד מהם, כי חירף מערכות אלוהים חיים.
Your servant has slain even lion and bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, for he has disgraced the battalions of the living God.
Okay. In a pshat of the dvarim, David HaMelech say that he managed to overcome the bear and the lion, and that Philistine, that Goliath, the uncircumcised, is no different to those animals. He's exactly like them. I will kill him exactly like I killed the lion, like I killed the bird, the bear. You know why? Because he disgraced the Almighty. What does it mean? Chas v'shalom. He cursed the Almighty. He cursed the Jewish people. He deserved to be killed exactly like them. That's the pshat of the dvarim. Rashi HaKadosh, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, that born in the city of Troa 985 years ago. He explained that the word et, you remember at the beginning I said the key word is et. Et, it say here, look what it said. Gam et ha'ari, also the line. What does it mean, also the line? What is the hidush here? גם הדוב היכה עבדך. Say Rashi HaKadosh, from that it say here, it's come to add up. It's come to add up. When the lion came, it wasn't the lion by himself. The lion have two cubs with him. When it's come to the bear also have cubs with him. And we know that in general, the lion more dangerous than a bear. But when the bear have the cubs with him, then the situation completely turn around. The bear become much more vicious, much more aggressive than the lion. David HaMelech said to Shaul, in a situation that I was, came the lion with two cubs, came the bear with his cubs. I managed to kill them all. And not only that I managed to kill them, I saved the lamb. That's how Rashi HaKadosh explained. The Radak, Rabbi David Kimchi, he born in France, he born 864 years ago. He explained that something very interesting. With the lion came two cubs, while with the bear came one cub. So it wasn't that the lion have two cubs and the bear have two cubs. No. Basically, David HaMelech now fighting against 5 wild animals, 3 lion and 2 bear. And we explained that the bear, when he's with his cub, he become very aggressive, much more aggressive than the lion. And David HaMelech continued saying to Goliath, that Philistine, he referring obviously to Goliath, that the uncircumcised one, okay, is not any different to the lion, is not any different to who? To the bear. The same like I killed them. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped me to kill the bear and the lion. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help me to kill who? That uncircumcised one. Why? You know why? Because Goliath curse, swear, shout, embarrass, degraded the Jewish people and Has v'shalom the Almighty. The Mitzudot David explained, given a different idea. Who was the Mitzudot David? Rabbi David al-Chela, he born in Galicia. He born 336 years ago, and he explained like this, that what David HaMelech actually saying to Shaul here, he doesn't grab about it, doesn't want to show off. He actually saying, if you look carefully, said the Mitzudot David, that when David HaMelech speaking to Shaul, he said to him that the same like HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped me to overcome the lion and the bear, he will help me to overcome that uncircumcised Philistine thing to Goliath. That means, said the Mitzudot David, look how David HaMelech speaks. He actually davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's saying to Shaul, in a way like he davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to help him to overcome that Philistine. He referring to whom? To the uncircumcised one. Who's that? Goliath. And that's the Hidush here. That David HaMelech actually answering Shaul, but also davening the Almighty to help him to overcome Goliath. Let's go to verse 37. And here, David HaMelech continue and saying to Shaul, ויאמר דוד, אדוני אשר הצילני מיד הארי ומיד הדוב, הוא יצילני מיד הפלישתי הזה.
Okay, sorry. That was verse
37.
37. Then David said, Hashem, who rescued me from the hand of the lion and from the hand of the bear, he will rescue me from this Philistine.
Okay, here basically on a pshat of the Dvarim, again, pshat of the Dvarim, we see that it's not so simple. The Almighty that helped me to overcome the lion, to overcome the bear, he will help me to overcome that Philistine. Who are we referring? We know to Goliath. The Mefarshim say what David HaMelech saying to Shaul, it's like this. David HaMelech saying to Shaul, look, Shaul, you don't want me to go and fight with who? With Goliath. Why? Because you worry for me, because he might gonna kill me. He said, but I'll tell you what. I tell you what. Listen to me carefully, and you'll see that you have nothing to lose. Look how David HaMelech, the Mefarshim explain, how does he speak to who? To King Saul. And how he managed to convince him that he can overfight and overcome Goliath. Listen what David HaMelech said to him. The Mefarshim explain, David HaMelech say to Shaul, Shaul, what do you have to lose if I go and fight with him? If I'm going to win the battle against Goliath, you're going to say, my musician killed the strongest Philistine armored, experienced soldier. If, has v'shalom, God forbid, Goliath going to overcome David HaMelech, you can say, listen, it's not a great deal. Why? Because you managed to overcome my musician. You didn't kill experienced soldier. You didn't kill the soldier that have experience, that know tactics. Who did you manage to kill? You killed my musician. But David HaMelech said to him, but if I'm going to kill him, you're going to say, look, my musician managed to kill your strongest man. You're going to say to the Philistine, that's going to embarrass them. Not only that, that's going to cause complete embarrassment for all what you and the soldiers was frightened for so many days. So you have nothing to lose. You absolutely have nothing to lose. Said the Mefarshim, when Shaul heard that, he thought for a few seconds, and he listened to what David HaMelech say, and then Shaul HaMelech said to David HaMelech, you know what, David? Go and fight with Goliath, and the Almighty will be with you. So we see from here something very interesting. David HaMelech needed to converse Shaul HaMelech to go to fight, to go to that battle, to go to that match, let's call it, against Shaul, because it wasn't a battle, it was a match between David and Goliath. Just for general knowledge, Rashi HaKadosh and the Metzudot David explain that by that David HaMelech, what we explained earlier, managed to kill the lion, managed to kill the bear. Here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually hinted David HaMelech that he have those strength, that he have this power, okay? That he will cause salvation to the Jewish people. That means by that David HaMelech rescue the lamb from the mouth of the lion and kill the lion with his cub, the bear with his cub. The Kadosh Baruch Hu hinted to David HaMelech that David HaMelech not only just going to win them, he's going to cause salvation for the Jewish people. and he gonna rescue the Jewish people. Who was another one that saved the Jewish people, that through him came the rescue? Rabotai, because we're coming towards Purim, the next festival that we have, it's going to be Purim.
Yeah.
Who saved the Jewish people? Who brought salvation to the Jewish people in that time? Mordechai Yehudi. Mordechai Yehudi brought salvation to the Jewish people. How did he brought the salvation? By that he never revealed. He told Esther Malka never to reveal her nation. Because if Esther will reveal that she's a Jewish, her nationality, Ahashverosh wouldn't take her. So the salvation couldn't happen. David HaMelech done the salvation physically. In a time of Purim, the salvation was different. The salvation came from Hashem. By that, the David HaMelech here killed the bear, killed the lion, and soon we're going to hear that he's going to kill Goliath, was a physical. He saved the Jewish people physically with the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But in Purim, it was a different salvation. It was a spiritual salvation. That the Jewish people done tshuva, that means they repent, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the salvation through Esther HaMalka, that she helped to hang Haman HaRasha. We'll explain how she done it. Be'ezrat Hashem, towards Purim, a few weeks before Purim, we'll do the Megillah. We'll start through verses in some insight of the Megillah. We'll explain how she done it, what Chokhmah was behind it. So let's go back to our subject, that here we see that David HaMelech managed to converse Shmuel HaNavi, Shaul, King Saul, that he going to overcome who? That Philistine, he referring to Goliath. Let's go to verse 38. And look what's happening here. And here we have to understand what's happening in that verse. In verse 38, the prophet tells us, Vayalbesh Shaul et David מדיו, ונתן כובע נחושת על ראשו, וילבש אותו שריון.
Saul dressed David with his own battle garments. He put a copper helmet on his head and dressed him in armor.
Okay, בפשט of the דברים, the Shaul HaMelech had his own armored clothes. He gave it to David HaMelech. If you remember, when we start the book of Samuel, we explained that when the prophet Samuel gone to choose a king for the Jewish people after they wanted, Kadosh Baruch Hu showed him who? King Saul. But King Saul was very tall. King Saul was a special big man, wasn't a small man like David.
Yeah.
So now come a different issue. King Saul giving his own armored clothes, a special helmet, you know, the helmet that they have in their own day, the special armored clothes that they used to wear, you know, that if they shoot the bow, the arrow on them, that it wouldn't penetrate, and etc. A miracle happened, the Mefarshim explained. The Mefarshim explained that when David HaMelech wear the armored clothes, it fitted him exactly. A miracle happened, and those clothes fitted David HaMelech like a tailor made suit. You know, like the tailor made the suit for you. That's fitted David HaMelech perfect. Shaul HaMelech King Saul, the Malbim explained that, and also the Targum, that somewhere Shaul HaMelech didn't feel comfortable. As a matter of fact, Shaul was jealous of David. He says that if those army clothes fitted David HaMelech, I have a problem. The Malbim say that he put the evil eyes on him, okay, on David HaMelech, and David HaMelech couldn't move with those armored clothes. So that's the prophet tell us that Shaul dressed David HaMelech with his armored clothes and given him the helmet and put on him the front armored vest, whatever you want to call it, or gown, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want to, how they call it in English. In Hebrew, we call it shirion. And the moment that Shaul saw that it fit David HaMelech perfectly, like a tailor-made suit, he put an eye around David. David HaMelech couldn't move, said the Malbim. Couldn't move with those clothes, couldn't do anything. Let's look what's happening in verse 39. Very interesting. ויחגור דוד את חרבו מעל למדיו, ויואל ללכת, כי לא ניסה. ויאמר דוד אל שאול, לא אוכל ללכת באלה, כי לא ניסיתי ויסירם דוד מעליו.
David then girded his sword over his battle garments, but he was unwilling to go forth, for he was not accustomed to it. So David said to Saul, I cannot walk with these, for I am not accustomed to them. And David removed them from on himself.
So David HaMelech, when he saw the face of Shaul, said the prophet, he realized that Shaul is jealous. But he didn't want to do it immediately. What did he say? He took the sword and he put it on him, and he felt uncomfortable. So he found an excuse to say to David HaMelech, listen, I can't move. Those clothes are uncomfortable. I'm not a warrior. I don't know how to do technique. I'm not get used to wear armored clothes. It's not for me. Therefore, I rather fight without the armored clothes. The Mefarshim explained that David HaMelech, when he saw the face of Shaul, like we explained, he realized that Shaul already jealous of him. What does it mean, jealous of him? Said the Mefarshim, it's something extraordinary. When Shaul saw that the clothes that was belonged to him, and he was much taller than David, much wider than David, fitted David exactly in his heart. He said, maybe that's the man that the prophet told me that he gonna replace me as a king. And here, said the Mefarshim, Shaul HaMelech started to become aware that maybe David gonna be the next king. The prophet doesn't tell us that Shaul thought about it, but the Mefarshim explain that Shaul always had a suspicious about everyone that want to take his place, everyone that want to take the crown out of his head. And when he saw that the clothes that he wear fitted David HaMelech exactly like a tailor-made suit, he decided in his heart, maybe that's the man that the prophet's speaking about. Maybe he gonna be the next leader, the next king of the Jewish people. Let's go to verse 40 and let's see what's happening there. After David HaMelech obviously took the armored clothes, here the prophet tells us something very interesting. ויקח מקלו בידו, ויבחר לו 5 חלוקי נער אבנים מן הנחל, וישם אותם בכלי הרועים אשר לו, ובילקוט, וקלעו בידו, ויגש אל הפלישתי.
He took his staff in his hand and picked out 5 smooth stones from the brook and put them in his shepherd's bag and in the knapsack. And his slingshot was in his hand. Then he approached the Philistine.
As I'll explain, and first of all, the prophet described that David HaMelech took a stick. In English, it doesn't say stick. Very important to mention the stick. We'll see why. Because with the stick, David drove Goliath's men. Rabotai, I say it again. That stick that David HaMelech took with him, he drove Goliath mad. Goliath didn't know what hit him. He actually lost it. David HaMelech took with him the sling, took with him 5 stone, river stone. Okay? And he took with him the stick, he put it in his shepherd bag, and he walked towards Goliath. That's pshat of the dvarim. But we have to understand what's happening here. David HaMelech planned it very well. By that David HaMelech took the stick, okay, it was to mislead Goliath, okay, that Goliath gonna think that David HaMelech coming to fight with him with a stick, okay. By that he wasn't be so aware. That means the awareness, you look at David, what chance David HaMelech had to come to fight with a person that fully armored from the top to the bottom, completely shielded with steel. What the chance that you're going to do with a stick? You can hit from today until tomorrow. It's not going to hurt Goliath. That was the first thing that David HaMelech done, the tactics. The Radak, Rabbi David Kimhi, explained that the main reason that David HaMelech took also 5 stone. Why did David HaMelech took a stick and 5 stone? Why not 1 stone? Why dafka 5? Rabotai, there is a secret behind the 5 stone. He explained it like this. Goliath done few things. Goliath embarrassed the Almighty, cursed the Almighty. If you remember Goliath, when he killed Hophni and Pinhas, he took the holy ark and he used to throw it in the air and play with it like he played with the toys. David HaMelech said, the first stone that I'm taking, it's in honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna help me to overcome that Philistine, that uncircumcised. The second stone that he took, in merit of Aharon HaKohen. Why Aharon HaKohen? Because we know that Hophni and Pinhas, they was Kohanim. Who killed them? Goliath. Said David HaMelech, I'm taking 5 stones that in merit of each one, I can overcome Goliath. So the second stone we say in the merit of Aharon HaKohen. Why dafka Aharon HaKohen? Because Aharon HaKohen, he was the first Kohen. And he's going to be Goel Dam. He's going to take the revenge. So that's the second stone. The other 3 stones, what happened? in the merit of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. What does it mean in the merit of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? That all what they preached us, all the Torah that we have, Hesed, Gvura, from Yitzhak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu, Tiferet, okay? All of that, who wanted to destroy, who wanted to annihilate the Jewish people? Goliath. I'm going to take 5 stones, each one in the merit of a different one. On top of them is the Almighty, after that Aaron, then Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. In the merit of those 5, I'm going to overcome Goliath. There is a different interpretation that the Mefarshim bring. You know why Dafka 5 stone? In the merit of the 5 books of David. That means David HaMelech took 5 stone, 5 books of Moses, of Moshe, Hamisha Humshe Torah. He took the 5 stone, thank you, Jeffrey. He took the 5 stone and actually he prayed to the Almighty that each stone gonna have a merit for that to kill who? Goliath. So now we understand, number 1, why was the stick? The stick, it was to mislead him. But that we'll see that it's not really just to mislead him. We'll see that the stick that David HaMelech took is really drove Goliath mad. Goliath couldn't understand what's happened. That when he saw the sticks, Goliath actually lost it. Let's go to verse 41 and 42. Let's see what's happening there. In verse 41, וילך הפלישתי הלוך וקרב אל דוד, והאיש נושא הצינה לפניו. ויבט הפלישתי, וירא דוד, ויבזהו, כי היה נער ואדמוני עם יפה מראה.
That was 2 verses.
Yeah,
Was it 40?
verse 41, verse 42,
right.
sorry.
The Philistine walked, getting closer and closer to David, and the man bearing his shield was in front of him. The Philistine peered and saw David, and he derided him, for he was a youth, ruddy and handsome.
On a pshat of the dvarim, that David HaMelech, when he walked and when he stood in the front of Goliath, he made Goliath work. But Goliath had a child or a carrier, a soldier that was carrying his shield, that when people used to shoot arrow on him or used to throw stone or spears, with that he used to defend them. Why? Because Goliath was heavy with all of his armored clothes. It was very difficult for him to move. And he was moving towards David HaMelech in first of all, very slow and very heavily. Through his armored shield helmet, in the front of his face, he had a shield that was a small space just for the eyes to see. What did he see? He see a youth, a youngster, that's coming to fight with him with a stick and a bag. He didn't see the sling and he didn't see the stone. The Radak, Rabbi David Kimhi, explained that when Goliath saw David HaMelech, when he looked at him, he saw that David HaMelech actually was a nice-looking man. And he couldn't believe that David HaMelech actually coming to fight him. Said the Radak, you know why the prophet telling you that when Goliath looked at David, he saw a nice-looking youngster, because those warriors that in their time, they make themselves look scary. They didn't look nice. But when he looked at David HaMelech, he saw David HaMelech, such a beautiful looking man, that he couldn't believe that that's the person that's going to fight him. Why? Because they get used to warriors to look aggressive, to look
Fearful.
angry, to make them scared, fearful. And David HaMelech came simple, the same like he is. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu made them, he didn't try to change his exterior, his identity, his look. Nothing. David HaMelech came as he is. That's already where we see the crack in Goliath. That Goliath couldn't understand what's happening here. Usually he gets used to people that fight. What it means, people that fight? They get used to soldiers. But here come an unexperienced person. It's already make him unaware. But he was thinking that he's gonna win that challenge very easily, that contest. Let's go and look in verse 43 what the prophet tells us. Vayomer haplishti. Here we see that how David HaMelech drove Goliath mad. How he drove them mad. He didn't know what hit him. And we'll bring the Mefarshim and we'll see. Let's go step by step. ויאמר הפלישתי אל דוד, הכלב אנוכי? כי אתה בא אליי במקלות? ויקלל הפלישתי את דוד באלוהיו. Oy.
The Philistine said to David, "Am I a dog that you come after me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
What happened? That when David HaMelech stood in the front from a distance of Goliath, Goliath saw this youngster that holding a stick. Goliath lost it. Goliath lost it. He said to him, "You think that I'm a dog? You coming to fight with me with a stick? How you even think that you're going to win me?" That's pshat of the dvarim. But the Mefarshim explained that David HaMelech had a special technique here. What was the special technique? Rabotai, listen to it, how David HaMelech drove Goliath's man. David HaMelech brought a stick. Usually, when you want to chase someone, what do? The first thing that you do, if there is a dog, you take a stick and you hit him and you chase him away. Say the Mefarshim here, David HaMelech drove Goliath mad. We learn that after his mother left, Naomi, she didn't return back to Moab. She gone back to the land of Plishtim. She married 100 men that night. And a dog. David HaMelech brought the stick to antagonize Goliath. Why? To tell him that basically his mother married 100 men, and he's also a son of a dog. Excuse my language. When Goliath saw that, he couldn't take it. He got so cross, so angry, that he completely lost it. He started to curse David HaMelech with the god of the Plishtim. Who was the god of the Plishtim, if you remember? We mentioned that was Dagon. You remember? Dagon. So he tried to curse David HaMelech in the god of the Philistine that called Dagon, that he will kill David HaMelech. That David HaMelech was the first move that drove Goliath made. Now Goliath is like sitting on a boiling water. He's boiled inside. Let's continue and see in verse 44 what's happening. ויאמר הפלישתי אל דוד, לך אליי, ואתנה את בשרך לעוף השמיים ולבהמת השדה. רבותיי, the key is בהמת השדה. בכבוד, Jeffrey.
Then the Philistine said to David, come to me, so that I may offer your flesh to the fowl of the heavens and to the beast of the field.
Okay. Here, the English translation, it said the beast of the field, but in Hebrew it doesn't say that. You have to be very accurate when you read the Hebrew. ולבהמת השדה. Behema is domestic animal. Okay, not a wild animal. What's happening here? And I especially say behemat השדה because in the next verse we'll see how David HaMelech, when he talked to Goliath, how carefully he makes sure what he said. In this verse, the prophet said that Goliath said to David HaMelech, come close to me. Okay? Because it's difficult for me to walk fast with those armored clothes. Okay? But I'm going to kill you. When I'm going to catch you, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to leave you dead on a field that the vulture will eat you. That means the wild bird will eat you. But also the domestic animal going to eat you. And I'm not going to bring you or allow you to be buried. Rashi HaKadosh explained that here David HaMelech already realized that he planned to draw Goliath made worked out. By that it said behemat השדה, behemat השדה, it's domestic animal. And we know that domestic animal doesn't eat flesh. David HaMelech already know that he drove Goliath made. That means David HaMelech, that was a sign to David HaMelech, say Rashi, that the plan that he had worked out. That Goliath lost it. Let's look at verse 45 and 46. Wow, time running. ויאמר דוד אל הפלישתי, אתה בא אליי בחרב, ובחנית, ובכידון, ואנוכי בא אליך בשם השם צבאות, אלוהי מערכות ישראל אשר חירבת. והיום הזה יסגירך אדוני בידי, והכיתיך, והסירותי את ראשך מעליך, ונתתי פגר מחנה פלישתים היום הזה לעוף השמיים, ולחיית הארץ, וידעו כל הארץ, כי יש אלוהים לישראל.
David said to the Philistine, you come to me, excuse me, excuse me, you come to me with a sword, a spear, and a javelin. But I come to you with the name of Hashem, the Master of Legions, the God of the battalions of Israel, that you have ridiculed. On this day, Hashem will deliver you into my hand, and I shall smite you, and I will remove your head from upon you. And I shall offer the carcass of the Philistine camp this day to the fowl of the heavens and to the beast of the earth. Okay. Then the whole earth will know that there is a God in Israel.
If you look here the commentary was accurate, the beast of the earth. David HaMelech, in this verse, actually starting to antagonize and to drive Goliath mad. He said, I'm coming in the name of the Almighty. You coming with your chariot, you coming with your weapon. That's not going to help you. You know why? Because the Almighty, our God, called Ish Milchama. Our God, He's the one that fight the war. We are just the messengers. But listen to me. I'm going to kill you with the help of my Almighty. Not only that, I'm going to chop your head. And the rest of the Philistines, I'm going to kill them. And the flesh, I'm going to leave that the wild birds going to eat them. That means that those predators, like the, what do you call them? Don't know how you call them, to give them a proper name, I'm not sure. Like the vultures, like the eagles, whatever that eat meat, they're gonna eat the flesh of the Philistine. Not only that, that the wild beasts, David HaMelech, very accurate here. What did he say to Goliath? V'hayat haaretz. He doesn't say behema, because behema is a domestic animal, like cow, like sheep, like goat. They don't eat flesh. Or like springboks, you know, those doesn't eat. He said to him, Lehayat haaretz. Hayat haaretz is the beast, the wild animal. Not only that, you have to understand that all the flesh, I'm going to leave it to them, and all the land. What does it mean, all the earth, all the nation? Which nation he's referring? Said the Mefarshim that all the Jewish people that was afraid of you, that you make them feared, they will know that there is God to the Jewish nation. And that's how I'm going to kill you. Rabota, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to stop here. I know that we're not finishing chapter 17. It's a long chapter, but there's so much information to feed, to understand, that I'm trying to give everything and to be accurate, you see, between each verse, between each word, because people, if they read it, they don't focus on it, only if you read the Mefarshim. So if we stop here, we have to understand what David HaMelech done. David HaMelech actually used the tactic, emotional tactic against Goliath. He, number one, antagonized Goliath. On a pshat of the dvarim, when he come with a stick, is to mislead Goliath, not to be so cautious, not to be aware of that youngsters, because he's not a soldier, he's not a warrior. He doesn't know technique of war. But when the Mefarshim explained to us that David here actually drove Goliath mad, that he hint to him like he's a son of a dog. David HaMelech said to Goliath, you born from a dog. And that's what drove Goliath mad. And David HaMelech suddenly wanted to test if he's that antagonizing, that technique that he used worked out. When he hear that Goliath saying to him that he's gonna leave his body lying on the ground to those wild predators, birds, and to the domestic animal, he know that he decide now that he's ready to do the war. And Ezrat Hashem, next week, we'll see that David HaMelech, how he managed to overcome the miracle that happened, that with the armored shield that was on the front of the face of Shaul. We'll explain the pshat of the dvarim. We explain the depths. There is a lot of secret behind it. what's happened. But we over an hour. I'm going to stop here, and Be'ezrat Hashem, next Sunday we'll continue. If there is any question, Bechavot, please unmute the microphone, and I'll try to answer the question. Bechavot,
Hello, it's
Rabotai.
Anthony. Anthony, how are you?
Erev Tov, Antonio, how are you?
All right, thanks. It's not directly related, something slightly different to the portion. I just want to know, King David lived for 70. He lived for 70 years. And and Adam gave him 70 years of Adam's life to King David. What was the reason that Adam gave? Why did Adam have to give 70 years of his life to King David? What is the connection there?
Okay. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam HaRishon, listen to me carefully. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Adam HaRishon what's going to happen from the day of the creation until all those people that are going to live in the world, each one of them. Adam HaRishon saw all the people that are going to live. Amongst them, he saw the soul of David HaMelech. And he saw that David HaMelech going to born and die immediately. David HaMelech not going to live for long. But he saw that David HaMelech have a special soul. That David HaMelech, it's not a simple thing. What has he done? He given him 70 years from his life. Adam HaRishon was supposed to live for 1,000 years. Okay? Yes. He lived for 930 years. The Mefarshim explain now in a depth that the soul of David HaMelech, the Mekubalim explain that the soul of David HaMelech cannot come to this world, cannot be released to this world. Cannot be released to this world. Why? Because the soul of David HaMelech was a special soul. And it's been hijacked by the evil forces. And they wouldn't allow such a neshama to come, so as he born, they will kill it. Adam HaRishon said, I'll give 70 years of my life to David HaMelech, but David HaMelech gonna come via the back door. What it mean via the back door? David HaMelech was the son of Ishai. Ishai was the son of Ovad. Ovad was the son of Boaz, and who? Ruth. We explained previously that Doega Adoni already starts to cause problem in a Jewish nation. Why? Because he spoke on Ishai that maybe that family is not a Jewish family. Although they think that they're Jewish, but they're not. Why? Because who was the grandmother of David HaMelech? Ruth. Ruth was a Moabite, and the Torah tells us, Lo yavo Moavi v'Ammoni bik'a la'amcha 10 dorot, 10 generations. That means a Moabite can never convert. So how can it be that Ovad, and then Ishai, and then David? Nah, that can't be. The Yetzer, the evil inclination, allowed them to come. But they didn't know that that's referring to the male, not to the female. You follow, Antonio?
Yes.
Okay, that's why he came to the world. Okay, I hope I answer your question.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question? Bechavod, Rabotai? Who wanted to ask question? Jeffrey, what about you?
Yes, I'd like to. I've got a couple of questions, Rav.
Bechavod.
There's something which is a bit needs explaining. David said to Goliath, he was making him madder and madder and madder. He probably was totally out of his mind at the time, Goliath, because when he turned around and said, well, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to cut your head off. I mean, it must have really.
He lost it.
And then he says, and I shall offer the carcass of the Philistine camp.
Yes.
Now, was it after he had chopped the head that the battalions of Israel took over the battalions of the Palestinians because they were fearful, they were scared, and they just lost it as well?
That's right. They're going to kill them back.
Because it looks like here that it was because of David chopping the head.
But David HaMelech also say here prophecy. What was the prophecy? You'll see in the next chapter, in chapter 18, we'll speak about that. You remember that Shaul promised that the man that's going to kill Goliath, he's going to get his daughter. You remember? We explained, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
David HaMelech originally married who? Meirav.
Yes.
But then King Saul took Meirav from him, and then he married who? Michal. David HaMelech, to marry Michal wasn't simple, because Shaul become already jealous of David. You already realize that he's going to be the next king. You already have Doega Adoni that's stirring the pot, you know, that adding fuel to the fire. He said to him, one condition. If you want to marry my daughter Michal, I have one condition for you. I need you to bring me the foreskin of Palestine. He said, how many you need? Shaul HaMelech said to him, the number. David HaMelech gone and brought 10 times more. So David HaMelech already killed them, because if you have to take the foreskin of a Plishtim, how are you going to do that? You have to kill them. David HaMelech already said prophecy what he's going to do to the Philistines. You understand me, Jeffrey?
Ooh. Ooh.
It's a bit heavy, but
Yeah.
you'll see. We'll put the puzzle together. The picture in the end, Be'ezrat Hashem, going to look good. Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll try to explain it easily. Nachon, it's heavy now, because you don't know what's coming. But we have to explain. But we'll explain also in the next chapter. If David married Michal, if David married Meirav, how can he marry the sister? The Torah tells us specifically you can't.
Yeah.
A person can't marry two sisters. Do you follow the question? You understand my question?
Yes. Yeah. Michal.
So it's against the Torah. How did David HaMelech done it? So we'll see that the marriage that David HaMelech married Michal wasn't a marriage. We'll explain that.
Was it not only at the same time? You can't
No,
marry
it wasn't.
No,
he can't marry them. He
law.
can't marry one sister and later on another sister. It's called Tzarat Achotcha.
Is that because of Rachel and Leah?
That was before we received the Torah. But after we received the Torah tells us that you can't. David HaMelech came long after the Torah that we received the Torah.
Yeah.
You want me to help you? I'll help you. When you married a wife, when you married your wife, how did you marry your wife? What did you say to her? Hare at mekudeshet li betabaat zo. With this ring, נכון?
Yes.
When David HaMelech married Meirav, he didn't say that.
Never ring.
Because he didn't have a ring. David HaMelech was a poor. We'll explain that all. How that the marriage of David and Meirav was not a marriage. And how did David HaMelech can marry later on Michal? בסדר?
Yep.
It's a bit deep. I know it's deep, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can. We'll explain that all, but to understand the shiurim, if I go quickly, we wouldn't understand half of this show.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going. I know that chapter 17 is a long chapter, it's 58 verses. It's a very, very long chapter, but we'll try to bring it. Please God, next week I'll finish with it. Ezrat Hashem. Ken, any other question?
Robert, just one more. Just
Ken,
something that just comes to mind. This question of defeating the Philistines, killing them, brings to mind another chapter of Shimshon doing the same thing. I mean, it's a repeating theme in our Torah with us, with the Philistines. Even today, we have got the same problem. The same thing is happening again and again, but each time Hashem helped.
Oh, so what's the hidush? We have to understand. Let me put it to you like this. Rabotai, how long the Israeli Defense Force fighting against Hamas? 15 months. Let me make it easier for you. 15 months. A year and 3 months. 15 months. Hamas, where are they? In Gaza. Everyone knows they're in Gaza. You agree with me? Where was the Plishtim? Where did we explain when they took the Holy Ark? Where did they took it? Took it to Gaza, to the south. You remember?
Yeah.
They took it to the idol, to the house of idol. They put it in the front of the house of idol, where it was in Gaza. Gaza. Since the beginning until now, we didn't have a minute peace for them, with the Plishtim. Where it started before, in a time of Moshe Rabbeinu. נכון? Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't want us to go through derech Plishtim, derech Eretz Plishtim.
Yeah.
Because it's quicker to go through there, to Eretz Israel, not to fight, not. We never started with the Palestine. Who's starting with us all the time? Palestine. 7 of October 2022. 2023, sorry. My wife corrected me. 2023. Who started the war?
Yeah.
In a time of Shaul, who started the war? That Jonathan and Shaul have to go and fight with him. Before that, who started with the children of Israel when Ali and the children of Ali got killed? Hophni and Pinhas, who killed them? Who came against the Jewish people? Plishtim. In time of David HaMelech, Plishtim. In a time of Shimshon, Samson, Plishtim. Plishtim, me'az u'metamid, forever. There was a headache to us.
And it does one thing for us. It does one thing each time. It brings Hashem back into the picture. Each time it happens, that's it. You saw what happened with David. The people, he did it so that people will believe that Hashem is behind us. Same with Shimshon. The people got behind. I mean, it was amazing. They were fearful until this happened. Now what's happened? The people who are disunited, what have you, are pulling together and now recognizing it. So here we are. History is continuing. History is Hashem's weapon. If you, God forbid, but we can say it's a weapon that's being used in order to pull us back. We
Exactly.
defeated, but it's still presented to us.
That's exactly the Hiddush. That's exactly. You understand?
Yeah.
Plishtim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu send them when we leave the way of the Almighty. Now
Thank
you
you.
understand the secret of the Plishtim.
Yeah.
What's hiding behind it? Here's the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're still going to defeat it. It's Amalek. We're going to defeat it. We're going to
Amalek,
keep defeating.
Amalek is a mixture. Amalek is completely mixture. מה שאומר זכרו עמלק. לא פשוט, לא פשוט. זה לא פשוט.
Thank you.
If you look in the depths, you'll see that history repeating himself, but there is a lot of thing behind it. Dr. Les, you want to say something? I see that Dr. Les.
No, Rob, thank you so much. Just an amazing talk tonight, really, as they always are. But Rob, really, kulak, so much work went into it, and we so appreciate what you do, Rob. And I had a very long talk.
Yes,
Rob,
I know.
had a very long talk with Rob. Very long talk.
I got the message from Rob that you're going to work together. He's going to already give you a contact for a survivor from the Warsaw ghetto.
No, amazing. Yeah.
So, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're all going to work together. And like I said to Rob, and like I said to you before, it's thanks to all of you that we're doing this beautiful job. But I can't do it myself, all of it, I must be honest. And I said to Rob, I have enough on my plate besides my work that I do, and I give shiurim all over on Zoom. I give shiurim at Yeshiva College. I give shiurim at the Sephardi Shul, all over. And I'm basically, I don't know how I manage. HaKadosh Baruch Hu give me a lot of siyata dishmaya. And on top of that, we have the Hesed. And now we're going to join not only just Yad Esther as a food provider for the underprivileged. We're going to have Shoshana going to join us, that it support. And Be'ezrat Hashem, all together, we're going to try to support the Jewish people, to give them what they need, and also to keep our history. We have to remember. We have to remember where we come from. If we don't remember where we come from, we don't know where we go. By that you and Rob, Be'ezrat Hashem, going to put it together and put a lot of emphasis about the Holocaust, that there's a lot of people trying to deny it. Be'ezrat Hashem, this is one of our jobs. That's also a holy job that we have to keep going. Thank you, guys. Any other question regarding the shiur? Sorry? No.
So to both of you.
Thank you. Dr. Les, you wanted to ask something?
No, just to thank you, Rob. Just to thank you.
To thank me. I must thank you all. Without you, I couldn't do it. Thanks to you all. Guys, thank you very much. Have a beautiful week ahead. Shavua Tov to all of you. Thank you for joining us tonight, and have a beautiful week ahead of it. Week that we will be full with peace, Be'ezrat Hashem.
Amen.
That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will guard us, will guard all the Jewish people all over the world, especially in Eretz Israel. They need HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All over the world they need HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We need HaKadosh Baruch Hu everywhere. And the most important thing, that we continue keeping that work, spreading the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, explaining what's happening. Today that you're learning the book of Samuel, we see that we're understanding now that what's happened then, it's what's happening today. And that's what Chazal tell us. That the Torah tell us specifically, but now we understand it. Ve'esav soneh liYisrael.
Yeah.
That's it. We have to understand, like Jeffrey said now, Shlomo HaMelech said, En hadash tahat hashemesh. Nothing new under the sun in Sefer Kohelet. Be'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, that we'll see peace in our land, peace all over the world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will guard all the Jewish people in Eretz Israel and in the diaspora. I would like to take the opportunity to thank you all. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should go from high to high. Dr. Les, Shukra. Thank you, everyone.
It's great, Rav.
And have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
God
Good
bless.
night.